as for now, I feel strong support from all the EU institutions, including the European Parliament, as well as all the 27 member states.
The fact of the matter is that access to the EU is the EU's to grant, not for the UK to take. Professor Jeremy Batstone-Carr. On Saturday, EU leaders unanimously backed guidelines on the coming Brexit negotiations. What's your take on the document?
My take on the EU guidelines for Brexit negotiations is that all existing members of the EU outside the UK have agreed very swiftly on the terms on which the EU is going to negotiate the Brexit process with the UK. And most importantly, the document indicates that issues such as fiscal responsibility to the UK's commitment to the EU and security of residency for EU citizens are inviolable. These issues have got to be addressed before other subsidiary factors in the EU's views, such as trade, the fate of the City of London, and security arrangements, can be addressed. Now, that's not going to go down very well with British Prime Minister Theresa May, but the fact of the matter is that access to the EU is the EU's to grant, not for the UK to take.
The United States finished their annual large-scale military drills with South Korea on Sunday, but continued a separate joint naval exercise that has triggered the threat of nuclear war from North Korea. Jeremy, do you see these tensions having an impact on the market this week?
I think that Korean tensions are very difficult for financial markets to price accurately. Indeed, it's fair to say that geopolitical and indeed political events are hard for financial markets to price. Historically, that has been the case, even going back to the beginning of World War I. It wasn't until July 1914 that the Times newspaper suggested the war with Germany would be inevitable before the financial markets took notice. I think the fact is that North Korea has been a major tail risk for so long that the financial markets have by and large attempted to try and discount it. And the fact that the US military is now within close range of Korean waters and the Chinese have been mobilized as well has in actual fact encouraged many investors to the view that perhaps North Korea can be contained. Certainly the South Korean won has performed comparatively strongly, certainly relative to, for example, the South African rand or the Mexican peso, and the South Korean equity market has been positively ebullient. This is not the kind of activity you would expect from a financial market that genuinely expects war with North Korea to break out.
And we have Euro area GDP growth rate figures out on Friday, and the market is expecting a slight improvement. With Euroscepticism increasing in France and playing a large part in their elections, could these figures have any influence on the election?
My sense in relation to Eurozone GDP and the French elections is that the GDP number is unlikely to make a huge amount of difference to the voting intentions of French people in the second round of presidential elections. The data is expected to show that Eurozone GDP has expanded, largely due to reasonably robust retail sales, and yet the pace of growth will still be below where it was in the fourth quarter of last year. And also, you have to remember that bank lending, credit growth, which is essential for long-term economic prosperity, remains extremely weak. There has been some growth, but it has really only been in the area of mortgage lending rather than anything else. Now, this suggests to me that despite the way the data is portrayed, economic activity in the Eurozone remains extremely weak and well below the 2.5% envisaged by regional authorities. However, I suspect as far as the French election goes, this isn't going to measure very highly on the Richter scale.
Thank you for joining us, Jeremy, and lending your assessment of events likely to impact the markets this week. To those of you at home, be sure to click back for further market analysis. See you soon.